everybody, it's Amy and Maggie, and we are back from GenCon. We have landed back in the land down under.
Yes.
And everyone...
We're back in the future.
We're back to the future. And everyone always asks us when they bump into us at an event like GenCon, how was the flight? Yeah. And the flight on the way back was challenging. It was around 30 hours of travel. We did 3 legs. We went from Indianapolis to Denver, Denver to San Francisco, San Francisco to Melbourne, all without stopping overnight. So it was a lot. And
it was. Lucky minimal delays, so that was good. That's like all you can hope for, so I'm happy with that.
Yes, we made it home, but I did wake up at 3:30 this morning, so I've been very productive this morning. It's now 6 a.m. and we are recording, and so Maggie has woken up, and so that's our early apology for going through these games in a very jet-lagged manner.
Yes, if we're a little bit out of it, that's probably going to be the reason why.
But anyway, how was GenCon?
GenCon was amazing. It's always so amazing. This year it was completely sold out before it even started. So we were already kind of preparing ourselves for going, this is going to be busy. And it was. It was quite busy.
Super busy.
It's one of those like warning if you've never been to GenCon and you sort of crowds are not your thing, it can be quite daunting and intimidating. But if you're kind of, you know, if you're sort of comfortable with that, it's a lot of fun.
It's a lot of fun.
Yeah.
And so we did the crowd crush, as you would call it, on the first Thursday. So on Thursday, we actually got in on Tuesday night. So we had a lot of time to kind of get
acclimate.
Yes. Yeah, we spent the weekend in Austin, Texas. That was amazing. We ate lots of barbecue food. And the first thing people ask when you say you go to Austin, Texas is, did you go to Tanuki Games? We absolutely did. I spent a lot of money. There's probably some games hidden in here that I purchased from that store, so I'll talk about those. But we got into GenCon. We had a couple of days to kind of, get organized. Yeah. And I like getting in early to GenCon because on the Wednesday, the expo hall is not open, but you can pick up your badge, 1, and 2, the merch store is open. So you'll see that we're sporting our new merch. I got this jumper. Maggie got the next...
a new tarot card design for the collector. Yeah.
Loving what they're doing with merch, and always, we got there the morning, on the Wednesday morning when the merch store opened, and we still had to line up for an hour. But if you don't get it on Wednesday, then the line gets longer and longer as the weekend goes on, as you can imagine, and things start to sell out. So,
although I feel like this year I didn't see any sold out signs, so I think they actually stocked things pretty well for the amount of people. So
maybe. Unsure, because we did that early. And
we did.
Then, so the Thursday morning is like when the expo hall opens. So if you haven't been to GenCon, you've probably seen some videos online of what happened at 10 a.m. the first morning, where everyone is waiting to go and get their games. And it is pretty wild, and we only like to do that really once. We had to do it twice because of some of the lines, which we'll talk about, but we did it on the Thursday. We got in, and Maggie and I have separate agendas.
Amy gives me a very detailed pathway, go here first, try and get these ones if you can, or it's more about once you've done those, go to these other ones. But I had to pivot because all of those lines, I don't know how it happened, but by the time I was there, the lines sometimes were already past multiple, so it's like they went out their booths, cross multiple booths, looping back and around other booths, and it's just like, this is not going to happen. And a lot of publishers only bring, like they sort of allocate maybe 100, 150 copies per day, so they're like, that's it, up to here. Everyone else, go away and come back tomorrow.
And we'll talk about our success as we go through our games. But what else do we do at GenCon? It's always a mixed bag for us because going to GenCon, the main thing that we want to do is see people.
There's so many people that you get to catch up with, which is amazing.
Yeah, all of the content creators and the friends we've made around the world, but also all of you. So thank you to everybody who came up and said hello. It's so heartwarming when people come up and tell us what they love about the channel or what they resonate with when it's ThinkerThemer. So that was really, really lovely.
We discovered that Amy startles easily. Amy is like, I don't know if you've ever seen I think it's the Frightened Woman, a Catherine Tate sketch. So I think there were a couple of times where people were like, oh my goodness, it's Amy and Maggie. And Amy's like, ah! So
I think I was really tired, and that there was a couple of times where I just turned to the corner of a booth and someone was like startled to see me. And then I probably squealed in your face. So I'm so sorry to anyone who I had that reaction to.
It's still really, really lovely. But maybe now the modification will be if you you're coming to say hello, advance with caution and just like
slowly approach. Don't make eye contact. Just
gently.
gently approach. No, I'm just joking. Happy for you to say hi. However you want to say hi, because it's just so lovely to meet all of you. And we met a lot of people.
Yes.
So it's fantastic. And we're starting to see the same people now that we've been going to GenCon year upon year. We start to see the same people. We did get to spend time with many people playing games. So we'll put some photos up here. I'm sure Maggie has a bit of B-roll, because otherwise I'll just forget to mention everyone by name. But of course, lots of content creators. We got to meet up with our Joey fam, our community. We had a few people there, so we met up at the Lucas Oil Stadium to play some games. But if you haven't been to GenCon, it's really interesting because it's not typically a playing con. So there are other cons where there's a big library and you just get to sit down and play games. This is
that's
really,
all you do.
And that's all you do.
There's a huge exhibit hall.
There is so much going on. So there is, of course, the expo hall where it's all about the shopping, and that is like such a big part of this convention because all of the new games that get released. But then there's events that are going on that are ticketed, so you can
so many events. And
there's lots of cosplay. There's lots of activities going on, and people have asked us, how would you compare Essenspiel to GenCon? And GenCon is so much more of a spectacle. That's the best way that I would describe it. It's like, and it's very extroverted, and probably if you enjoy that kind of crowds and the hype, that's where GenCon really shines. Essenspiel is a bit more serious, and it's probably a bit more focused on the games.
Much more subdued, and it's all just like you're kind of going there to buy, like people come with suitcases to just fill them up with games, and the only playing that happens there is really just at the booths where they have a demo, like their own demo area, but there aren't really like other areas for you to sit down and play, which GenCon does have more of that. Like there's more of people just playing, and also in the hotels and things like that.
But in terms of what we were up to, we were attending, of course, some meetings and media events where different publishers were showcasing their games. Outside of that, we were mostly walking the halls, buying games, checking out games, talking to people, and then on top of that, anytime we had any spare downtime, we were trying to find somewhere to play. And generally speaking, that at GenCon, that means in the hotels, in the lobby areas. We played one game on the couches awkwardly, trying to find space. There's, of course, the BGG hot room,
hot games room,
which we were able to go to.
It's not just a hot room. It's not like a Bikram yoga scenario of it's like,
can you imagine a Bic room board games? That would not be fun.
That would not be fun. Also, very bad for the cardboard. Lots of warping, and no. It's just hot games. So a lot of all the new games are there, and you kind of get a ticket and you go and play for a bit.
We also went to a couple of board game stores. We went to Good Games in Indianapolis, where they stay open till 9 p.m. So sometimes we found ourselves there playing some games. And then we went to a new board game shop as well, Elfin Moon, who are open crazily 24 hours during the GenCon period.
Yes. We didn't actually test that. We didn't go back at like at 3 a.m, but that was what they were kind of doing.
So we actually went there with Board Game Ramblings, which was amazing on the first night, just to play some games and get
Johannes
settled
and
in.
Sunniva, which was great. We actually got to hang out a fair bit.
We did.
And we met also Caleb Wiles, who is a magician, an incredible magician, but more on this later.
Let's talk about it now.
Oh, now? Okay, let's talk about it now. There was an incredible magic show with Johannes and Caleb, and oh my goodness, it
was such a highlight for me.
It really was for me as well. It was like both of them were so incredible in different ways. And I'm often the type of person that's like watching a magic show and I'm like, yeah, I think this is how they did it. Oh, yeah, I can see. There were so many times, like pretty much every time I was like, no idea. I have no idea how that happened.
Know. And look, Johannes...
Even people behind me who were like, yeah, I know. Well, they're like, I have no idea how they did that. It was like,
and Caleb did some close-up magic for us because we were playing board games with him on the first night. That was amazing. And then Johannes, who, of course, is part of Board Game Ramblings. With,
Board Gaming Ramblings.
Board Gaming Ramblings with his...
we're joking about
I'm tired. With his wife, Sunniva. They're great friends of ours. But he is also such an incredible entertainer. And he did an amazing trick with a rope. And I keep saying to him, now everywhere he goes, I'm going to bring like rope and a pair of scissors, and he has to do this trick for us all the time. What were some other highlights from the show? Someone we have never met before, Matt from Shut Up and Sit Down. He was one of my early startled meetings because he just came up and was like, "Hi," and I wasn't expecting it.
Oh my goodness!
Oh my goodness!
That was cool.
That was really cool.
Yeah.
What else did we do?
What did we do? Well, there's always a lot of. I don't know. Should we talk about some of the people that? Well, first of all, we wouldn't have been able to attend had it not been for Stella from Maple University, who allowed us to crash in her room, her literal room. And so, thank you so much, Stella, because it was just impossible. We could not find hotel rooms, and the ones that you could find were so expensive that we're like, this is just not going to happen.
That is one real difficulty of the show, and I'm interested to see how, if it continues to sell out, how are they going to scale this event? Because it is almost like completely impossible to have somewhere to stay.
Yeah.
Even if you're willing to stay further out from the convention halls, it's still all the hotels get booked up.
So expensive.
Not once have we been lucky in the hotel allocation, so it was very fortunate that we got to stay in the room with Stella. So thank you, Stella.
Yeah.
So we had an Australian room.
We did.
We were all jet lagged together.
That's correct. It's a bonding experience when you're all delirious together. Yeah.
Yeah.
So should we start maybe going through some of the games?
Let's talk through. We'll tell you some more stories as we work through our games. Now, as usual, we pack very carefully.
Yes.
So if you've watched our whole videos before, you'll know that we bring 4 suitcases, generally speaking, that are basically empty, aside from the very bare minimum of clothes that we need on our backs.
Yeah.
And then we bring home all of these games, but we have a few tips if you're bringing home games from conventions. 1, punch everything.
Yes, get rid of all the excess cardboard that you're not going to need, because that's additional weight, and weight is gold when it comes to figuring out what's going to go in which bag.
Yes.
So,
2, nest games within games. So we are constantly trying to fit as many games. So as we go through these, we can't even remember what games are inside these boxes.
Yeah.
That will be a surprise to us.
Yes.
But that is the way of efficiently managing your space. A lot of board games also have cardboard inserts, which you can flatten, or if you're not attached to them, you can get rid of them. And then, of course, that allows more space for games.
Yes. Maybe we'll address the plushies first, because they'll probably...
Plushies were a big feature at GenCon.
They were,
There were so many more plushies than usual. These are some of our favorites.
Well, these are probably the only ones that came back with us. So this cute little guy is is it a bull? Yes, the bull from Stone Spine Architects. But in a really, really cute form, because the one on the cover is really strong and serious, and this is like the hello.
I love
version.
that they made a cute little kawaii chibi version of that, aggressive. It's so cute.
Very
so cute.
very rugged. And so Amy was just walking around hugging this one.
Yeah, I felt quite comforted holding a plushie as I walked through.
It's a great hugging shape. Yeah, because it's just kind of
We have a very big plushie collection,
actually.
Too big. And we've recently moved house, and it's a real problem. And I'm just sitting here patting this wolf. This is a wolf from Sears Catalog, which is one of the games that you'll see in our hall, but it is the retheming it's changed a little bit in terms of rule sets as well, but it is by our great friend Taylor Rayner from Taylor's Trick Taking Table, who's an incredible designer and developer of trick taking games, as well as having a YouTube channel. But his game, which was called Owl, or Of What's Left previously, got picked up by Bezier, and it was certainly one of the hot titles of the con. Funnily, I'll tell this story now, but he had grown his hair out so much that he was starting to look like his little mascot, the lion.
The lion. Yes, had a big mane kind of happening.
But he had a little promotional event called Shears Catalog, where he was playing Sears Catalog, and anyone who beat him in the game got to shave off some of his hair.
Yeah.
And we saw him after that event, and we'll share a photo here. He had one tuft of hair just at the front.
A Clark Kent sort of swirly fringe.
Anyway, so this is the wolf from Sears Catalog, Shedding Game.
Yes.
And this is the gnome from Gnome Hollow.
Which also, they had an incredible balloon display outside. They also have all these sort of, what would you call it, a balloon sculpture? And it was incredible how they recreated the gnomes and even made a cave that you could walk into to see other bits and pieces. So yeah, big promotional, very impressive.
It was very impressive. And Gnome Hollow was one of my most anticipated games on my Gen Con list, as well as it being on the most anticipated list of lots of people who attended and other content creators. So not surprisingly, this game was in hot demand. It was
out every day.
It was one of the longest lines. There were always people there. And we actually got to meet the designer as well.
Yeah.
And he did all of the illustrations for the game. I've brought up the copy of Gnome Hollow here. We actually didn't need to line up for this one because after our list, the distributor here in Australia did provide us with a review copy of the game, but I was able to get this little plushie, so I was excited about that. But yeah, we have played the game and we're interested to talk about it more on the channel. It is very Carcassonne-esque.
Yes,
It's got the beautiful magnetic pieces that stick to the board.
It's like we kept kind of going, is this necessary? It doesn't matter because it's so fun. As soon as someone walks by, it's like, look, you can lift this up and none of the pieces will ever fall off.
Talkable. Everyone's talking about that. Yeah. Anyway, let's get into some of the games that we picked up. I'm going to start with one, another one that we didn't pick up.
This is the one that got away for me. It's Rock Hard 1977. Is that the right year? I always forget. Yeah, 1977. So this was one of my most anticipated, and it was there, but every day
this was wild.
It was gone.
But not only that, they were selling it in two different locations. They were selling it at the De Vere booth, as well as the room that they had, like an event space, and people were camping there from like 6:30, 7 in the morning, waiting for it to open at 9 a.m. at the event room, so that they could get a copy. They immediately they ran out of the promo that they had, and this was just, I would say, it was probably the biggest hit of the con.
It was already quite up there in terms of group, what do you call it? Sort of most anticipated as a whole of people that were coming to BGG, to people want to say BGG on the BGG list. It was one of the ones that always had the most thumbed up.
Yeah, that's right. So people had this on their list, and everyone was willing to do what it takes to get this game, and we missed out. I can't believe it.
Didn't matter what we tried to do.
It was wild. We tried everything we could to get in this line, but every day it kind of sold out, and they had Cities as well.
Cities was the same.
By Phil Walker Harding, and so those two games were just selling out every time. So we didn't get copies of those games.
That's okay, because we've got friends who have, like Stella has a copy.
Stella from
and so we can borrow her copy. And then when it's in production, we'll be able to, like I said, when it's in retail, we'll be able to get our own copy. So it's going to be fine. This is a candy. So if you know of the game, there's candy featured in the game, which doesn't have to mean drugs, and that's the other thing. We met Jackie Fox. That was the other amazing thing. And so this is a candy of Rock Hard. I haven't not had this candy yet. Clearly, I haven't had any of the other candy, so I don't know. I can't review the the candy.
Are you talking about the drugs or the candy?
No, the candy. There's no drugs.
Okay.
No drugs.
No drugs.
So we met Jackie Fox, and what a legend! What a truly incredible human being,
I was captivated by her.
Yeah,
I was just like, keep talking, please.
Just so smart, so articulate. It was so interesting to hear the entire the journey of the design and all the thought that went into it, and all of the thematically the elements that inspired all the different areas and the evolution of things. So I'm really looking forward.
We
to
spent
playing this.
45 minutes with her. She was so gracious. Talking to us about everything, about the times where she won Jeopardy, about all of the people and inspirations that she met for the game, and I am so excited to try that game when we can finally get our hands on it. But anyway, let's talk about some games that we do have.
All right.
My most anticipated game for my Gen Con list was The Gang, to which many people were like, what? Why is that your number one most anticipated game? Because it looks pretty light. It's a co-op game, which we're not really well known for. But I read the rule book on this when we were going through our list, and I just felt like it would come together in a really compelling way. If you like Texas Hold'em poker, this game is the cooperative version of that, and it's the spiritual successor to The Crew. Yeah. And basically, you are all trying to play out. You start with 2 cards, and then cards are going to be revealed, similar to Texas Hold'em poker, and you are going to be trying to communicate the strength of your poker hand without talking to each other. And the group needs to correctly rank the hands of everybody throughout the course of a number of rounds. And I don't really care for the theme. It's like a heist theme, but it's so abstract. It's really
strange. Like it doesn't really
inconsequential.
do anything. Yeah. You're really just trying to do your rankings and get the rankings right. Yeah.
But yeah, so we did get the opportunity to play this game, and it was a bit of a sleeper hit actually at the con. So what happened was, I don't think it was on a lot of people's radars to begin with, but then as the con went on, people started playing it because it was easier to get to the table and people were like, this game is great. And then it started selling out every day. We got the opportunity to meet the designers, which is fantastic. But yes, definitely going to be playing more of this. I will say now that I've played it, I do think it's much more appropriate for people who know and understand poker.
Yes.
If it's a mixed group of people who really love poker and people who know nothing about poker, you're probably going to struggle a little bit to get through it. But anyway, that is the game. Oh, I need to check inside it just to make sure there's nothing. I don't think there's anything inside this one. Nope,
no, good.
Nothing
good
inside
call.
Here, but we need to be checking. Okay.
There was also a realization that you had about co-ops being more mean than competitive games.
Okay, hear me out. Sometimes people ask us, people say, do you like cooperative games? And you're like, no, not really. I like competitive games. And the feeling that people get from that is, ooh, you're aggressively competitive. And I don't like
You don't like to work with people.
Yeah,
and you just,
I don't like that stereotype because many Euro games that we enjoy are not directly head-to-head competitive.
I love a multiplayer solitaire. So
exactly. There's just one winner. And we enjoy that motivation. But I've played a couple of co-op games recently, one being The Gang, where there was a lot of accusations about who ruined the scenario, or whose fault it was. And another game that we played recently, Landmarks, which was a game that was on our most anticipated list, played with a new group of people.
It's in here somewhere.
It's in here somewhere, I think. Played with a group of people that we didn't know, and I was the person giving the clues, and at the end someone felt the need to tell me all of the ways that my clues were terrible. And
this is really mean.
I hate that feeling. I really hate it, and I don't like the vibe that it gives, and I don't like feeling that responsibility as well. But it can for me, it can turn a little mean. Yeah. And so that was just like an interesting reflection of like, when you say you don't like cooperating, it sounds like you are a person who, but
I think it's the collective responsibility, and then how quickly things can be like, because obviously this should have been there, and it's like, well, no, like, it's like, let's remember, it's a game, we're meant to all be good. But it's like all of a sudden you're not just fending for yourself and your your win conditions. Like, well, now everyone's responsible for everyone's, and so
just when it's directed at me, it makes me really uncomfortable. When it's directed at other people and people getting blamed and things like that. So
co-ops can be very mean.
Co-ops are mean,
that's our
you guys.
takeaway lesson. So make sure when you're playing, play with a good group. And I don't know if you're like,
I think that's the thing.
That's always the thing.
It's just the group. And when you don't know people, I would much rather play a competitive game than a cooperative.
And everyone's just sort of minding their own area. Everyone's responsible for just their own thing. All right, back to the games.
Yeah, you grab games.
So
you started
this
that
one,
chat.
some of them I wasn't able to fit into any other boxes. So this is Tranquility, the Ascent.
We covered this years ago.
So long ago. Yeah. Yes. So I'll link to that video if you want.
I don't even know if it's relevant anymore because we don't know how it's changed. But
this is a cooperative. There you go. So this is a cooperative
game that we only played 2-player, just Maggie and I. But we really enjoyed this one. And it had some troubles, I believe, with the Kickstarter, and then I think it's changed publishing hands a couple of times.
Kind of rescued.
So it's finally seeing the light of day. It was beautifully illustrated, I remember. So looking forward to trying that out. But that is Tranquility.
So that's one.
Oh, guess what this is? It's Taco Cat Goat Cheese Pizza, the poolside edition. So Maggie left me for 5 minutes.
Turned my back for 2 minutes, and then she comes back with 1 million copies of Taco Cat Goat Cheese Pizza. I'm like, how did this happen?
It wasn't 1 million copies, it was 3. And I'll tell you why, because I went to buy this poolside edition because it's waterproof.
That's pretty cool.
And I was thinking that would be fun to be by a pool or by the beach, like in summer. And we're approaching summer here in Melbourne. Not really, it's still freezing.
It's still freezing, yeah.
But I like to think about summer. But this is the waterproof edition. And when I was buying it, I went there, and this is what happened, and this is my defense. I went to buy this and it was $15. And so I went to pay and they said, do you know that it's 3 for $20? How can you give up?
Oh, you're practically making money.
You are printing money with a $5 for 2 more copies of Taco Cat Goat Cheese Pizza.
Yeah.
So there are 2 more copies in here. So we'll find them shortly.
We'll find them.
Yes.
All right. Rebel Princess, the deluxe edition. So this is now the further developed and enhanced edition. It's got some like the tarot size cards for the rounds. They actually have a description on them of what the round is, so you're not having to refer to the rule book. The artwork is all the same, which I really appreciate because the artwork has always been amazing.
So
we cover this.
It's been republished by Bezier Games. This was another hot game of the convention.
Yes.
We talked about when Zombie Paella first released this at Essenspiel, and we had put it on our most anticipated list, and it created quite a bit of. They didn't have as many copies probably because they weren't expecting it to be like so popular.
Yeah.
And so they did a raffle for the final copy, and I'm so happy now that Bezier is distributing this now and reprinting it because it means more people can experience this game.
Yes.
Because if you watched our spoiler alert. If you watched our most thematic trick takers list, it is on there. I won't say where, but you just gave it away.
I'm just saying, I keep an eye out. Keep an eye out for this one.
I was trying not to spoil the video.
I know.
Anyway, so it's essentially the game of hearts where you're avoiding one suit. You're avoiding the princes, and it continues to be a hilarious game. On the very last night, we played this with Taylor, Alex from Boardgame Co. and Jenna, and we had such a great time playing it because I don't think Alex and Jenna hadn't played it before. And
Jenna from Boardgame Garden. So if you don't know Jenna from Boardgame Garden, make sure you go check out that channel as well because she's amazing.
They're what an amazing group of people, and Alex, it was so fun playing this with them.
Yeah.
So that is Rebel Princess, still
Trick Taking.
So no, nothing's in it.
And then there's this one, Lone Wolves.
Oh, this was one of my first stops on the Thursday going out to get games. Although I don't think it's sold out. So, but any game that comes from Asia that you think might be in small numbers of copies, they were kind of top of my list because I thought they might sell out. Lone Wolves is a 2-player trick-taking game where you are vying for control over a number of areas in the center. I don't know too much about it aside from that and aside from the pedigree of the designer. And so I went and grabbed this game, and I'm looking forward to trying it because 2-player trick-taking games, always really fascinating because it's hard to do, I think. It's hard to do well.
I enjoy some of them, like Fox in the Forest.
We need to speed this up, Maggie. We're going to be here all day.
So there's what is it? Pátzcuaro. Pátzcuaro. Like, I don't know much about this one. You know that. But it's a Mexican theme. There's the what do you call it? Papel picado, I think is what they call it. Like the sort of that beautiful paper, and it looks like it's a Day of the Dead. Yeah,
it is.
Dia de Muertos.
Yeah. So this is a drafting game where you are moving around a rondel and you're collecting items to essentially fulfill different. Fulfill contracts, which are essentially the offerings that you're putting together for the Day of the Dead.
It looks beautiful.
Yeah, this game first came onto my radar because I watched a video about it on Meeple University. And so they've got a great playthrough if you want, how to play if you want to go check that out. But yeah, I was just excited because they are a Mexican publishing house and Mexican designer, and I love themes like this. So I wanted to go out and support them. So picked this one up.
One's sealed, so it's not going to have anything in it.
It has nothing in it.
A lot of these don't have anything in it, so that's good because these are the little ones.
We've got the little ones on top. Right. I'll talk about Landmarks quickly because it's here. Landmarks is a game where you are essentially trying to guide your team through a path on a map, which is an island. And you're going to do that by giving word clues that helps them move in the right direction, by avoiding traps, by gaining water, which is going to give you more tiles and more time to get your way to the exit. This game wasn't my most anticipated list. I'll talk about it more. We obviously want to play it more, but we have played it quite a bit since it came out. It was at PlayCon in Sydney, so we were playing it there. This game is, the more I play it, the closer it gets to code names in my mind. And I I like code names and I like landmarks, but it's probably not the style of game for me. It's also cooperative, so there's that element to it. But I do think a lot of people, if you love code names, you're probably going to have a lot of fun with this.
I enjoy this more than code names. I actually don't really enjoy code names. But this one, I think because it's got more of a
physicality to it.
It's not just a physicality thing, like that's part of it, but it's like there's more purpose because you're trying to find a path, and there's this, so there's actually a little bit more theme, I guess, and it's just different, like that group sort of thing. I enjoy it.
There is a little bit more luck involved in it though as well, and some people struggle a bit with sometimes there is an optimal place and you give a perfect clue, but there are many options with where the next tile could go. Anyway, we'll cover that in more detail, but that is landmark.
Now I'll cover these three because these are all part of the same series. So this is Kingfire Delve. So there's...
this is upside down.
Oh yeah, probably. Let's see.
This
is upside down, that's upside down.
Small box solo or cooperative game from the Kingfire Chronicles kind of series. And we have never played any of those.
No, so one of them is cooperative, the series. One of the cooperative, one of them is competitive. These are meant to be like just like a one replayable different like battle, like more concentrated, almost like boss battle, where you can as you're using your characters, you're kind of going through different foes, I guess, eventually leading to the final battle. But the interesting thing with this one is, as you're playing, you have the opportunity to kind of boost the other person's turn, but that means that then you're losing one of the if you're using your cards to boost someone, you're wasting the really, really powerful ability that your card might have. So it's like an interesting kind of tension. So yeah, I'm intrigued by this. The production actually looks really, really beautiful.
So beautiful.
And it's very affordable, I believe. I think it's like $20
per box. Yeah, these were provided to us as review copies by Incredible Dream. I am intrigued. I don't normally play, we don't normally play games where there's a lot of battling.
Yeah.
But the way that this is done is really intriguing to me.
Yeah.
Mechanically, it seems really interesting. The foil cards are beautiful.
Yeah.
And this was definitely very popular. This booth, there was always a lineup for people trying to get the latest in the series, which I believe debuted at GenCon. These two are a little bit older. And each one of them is a different baddie that you are trying to go up against.
And I believe you can actually mix and match. So the heroes from one can be used with like some of the baddies from others. So that's really cool. So that's Kingfire Delve.
I'm going to open a big one. Why not?
Go for it.
Because this is Jin. And this is a game that came out at Ascent, and at the time I was super intrigued by it because it's a big euro. But at the time at Ascent, I was like, there is no way we can fit any more big euros into our bag, and so I didn't pick it up. So I'm really happy that we picked it up at Ascent, and I can't remember enough about it to tell you about it. But I'm going to look inside it because potentially there is.
Oh yes!
Look what's in here.
This is one of my Cafe Barras. So Cafe Barras. That's in the sort of the third in the. It's not really a trilogy, but it's
a cuteness trilogy.
Yeah, same like Roberto Taylor, the designer, same publishing team. So he started out with Creature Comforts, then Maple Valley, and now Cafe Barras. I feel like I actually enjoyed Maple Valley, which we haven't actually even covered, but I got a chance to play Maple Valley, which I actually liked even more than Creature Comforts because it's crunchier. I feel like this is even crunchier than that. So
is it?
I'm not sure, but this is also the more. What do you call it? The more compact edition. Like it's quite a small box compared to the other ones, and it's mostly just card driven, which I really, really like. So I'm really looking forward to that Cafe Barras.
Super cute.
So adorable.
Super cute.
And I believe there's things in here. Let's have a look.
What's in here?
There's a rule book. Look at this.
Okay, Rainbow is a new small box game in the series of these tiny games that all players doing. Rainbow is a one-round shedder. And we did get the opportunity to play this. The most interesting thing I think about this game is that you only play one round and you're trying to shed all the cards in your hand before anybody else. And you're doing that in runs or sets of cards. But what's interesting is the cards that everyone plays then becomes the prize pool for the next round.
Yeah.
So you don't play, you play out all the cards in your hand.
Yes.
But once that's done, the person who did that the fastest wins, and that's the game. So I was really surprised by this. It packs a good punch for this tiny little box.
Very quick as well. Like, it's a good one, as perfect filler, because it's just like, we just play the one round and that's it.
And I'll just explain where we played this, because all play at night, we're kind of putting on a bit of a trick-taking event. It wasn't really an event, it was just it was an informal event that at night they were playing trick-taking games. So we went there one night, invited by Taylor, which was amazing, and we got to play a lot of upcoming trick-taking games that we can't talk about because they're all in prototype form. But one of the designers we played with was Paul Solomon, who is the designer of Honey Buzz, as well as many other games, and so that was really fantastic. So we got to play some games with him and to meet some other designers and play their upcoming trick-taking games, and there's so many that are upcoming trick-taking games. It's
fun.
So hot right now.
Well, like Japan has really led the way in a way, because it has shown us what incredible variety of trick-taking games you can have, and so I'm excited. I enjoy
and so we played Rainbow there as well at the all play room.
Now, the other one that I have, this is also in my most anticipated list, and it's Fate Flip, which I think is going to be like the ongoing kind of mechanic of this. Washed Ashore, this is a solo survival and kind of journey narrative card-driven game, which I'm really, really looking forward to. Haven't had a chance to crack it open yet, but yeah, this was one of my first, I need to make sure and I go there and pick up a copy. So
I think it did sell out too.
Yeah. So that's Washed Ashore.
Yes, and I'm going to talk about one that was one of my first stops. Actually, it was my first stop. So my first stop at the con was to go to the Gamers Guild to pick up the Fog, as well as Tir na nog, which I'll talk about in a moment. The Grand Gamers Guild. And they had the Fog, Escape from Paradise, and they had the deluxe edition. And I was really excited to pick this game up. It was in my most anticipated list. And this game is very abstract, so I'm not sure Maggie's going to enjoy it. But essentially what you're trying to do is get all of your islanders off an island onto the boat to escape from this fog that is coming and taking over the island, this deadly fog. And the way you're going to do that is very chess-like, in that all of your islanders have different ways that they can move, and you need to work out the best synergies for getting them all escaped onto the boats and out of there. So I'm really excited to try. This is very heavy. This is the deluxe edition. I don't think I had any box space in here to fit anything else.
I think this was one that just didn't have any.
No, I think this was maximized, this box space, because it has an insert, has all these deluxe resources.
There was even a little expansion, which I can see in the corner, that I couldn't even fit in here, because I usually try and put the expansions inside, and I'm like, I'll deal with that later. I'll unpack it later.
I don't know if they sold out of this one, but I was glad that I went there first, because when it's most anticipated, you want to make sure you can pick it up.
And where else do we go? Oh, over here, because there's a pile at the front. I did this wrong.
Oh, you're gonna.
So this is probably, so at the start of towards the start of the con, someone came up to us and said, I'm disappointed that there weren't any Oink games in your list.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, and so I was like, it's like, well, I went through everything and I couldn't really find anything that really called out to me. And then this little Dropolter.
I don't think this launched at GenCon, which is probably why it wasn't on our radar.
It wasn't on the list. So this was a surprise for me for multiple reasons. One, it's dexterity, and it's a fun party type game.
She hates fun.
I hate both of those things. And we played this, and I was laughing so much. I was like, this has won me over. This has charmed me with its silliness.
This is single-handedly the game that we played most at GenCon. It's also the game I've played most since leaving GenCon, which has only been one day, but I took it to work and everyone really, really loved it. This game, I also picked up, this one's still in shrink because I ended up buying 3 copies of this game, but this game is so much fun. You are essentially holding a range of objects in one hand, your dominant hand, and in the basic version, when we turn a card over, it tells you what you need to drop out of your hand, which items. And the basic version, you can see the items and you can just drop them off as,
but only using the one hand.
Still very difficult.
Yeah.
In the advanced version, you hold your hand palm face down and you're trying to drop them without dropping everything else. But the best part about this game is that the victory points are these tiny little bells. And when you win a round and you grab the ghost because you're the first person to drop the correct items, you get one of these bells that also goes into the palm of your hand. Now, in subsequent rounds, you have these tiny little bells that you're trying to hold on to, because if you drop the bell, you lose your victory point. And that is the it is just so simple and so brilliant, that idea of like having to literally cling on to the points that you've made.
And they're the smallest item in your hand, so it's very, very easy for them to go ding, and you're like,
and the hilarity of the fact that they make a noise. So the more the closer you get to winning the game, which is when you've got 5 bells, the more noisy you're going to be when you're shaking them up. Everyone can hear the bells. But also when you drop a bell and it hits the bench, hilarious. Great dexterity.
That was the surprise of the con.
It was for me. It was the surprise of the con.
So that's dropolter. Because like poltergeist. But you're also dropping dropolter. There you go.
This is another game that I picked up from the Mexican publishing house called Neuro Riders. I don't know a lot about this game except for it says, what? You're a group of neuroscientists. Yes, and you're working your way back through. You're working your way back through someone's memories.
Yes.
And you're working your way through a puzzle, and it's a tile placement game. That's all I can tell you, because I saw it, I saw a little bit about it, but when I was buying the other game, I picked this one up as well. So interested to check that out and give you our thoughts.
All right. So the next one is Quartz, the dice game.
This was a review copy.
This is a review copy. I've never played Quartz. This is the dice game version of that game. Now, the production actually looks really cool. Like actually, we someone else kind of opened their copy.
It was Johannes, and he was about to teach us, and
he even learned it, and then it's like, we have to move on. It's like, oh no.
No, then we had, I think, a game of bingo at one of the media events or something, so we had to pack it back up again. But we were so close to trying it. But
the production looks really cool. So that's Quartz the dice game. Don't know much else about it. That was a review copy.
This is a game that I purchased, a Ziggurat. I don't know if I'm saying that correctly, but the main draw card of this game is it's by the designers of Pandemic Legacy. And so this is a legacy adventure game. I think it's been positioned more towards a family weight style game. And so I'm not sure if it's going to be heavy enough for Maggie and I, but I really wanted to experience it because the board itself looks really cool. It's like this 3D
so like a pyramid or like mountains?
That sits in the center. Oh, there, I can show you on the back. So it's got this beautiful table presence, and when people were playing it demoing it, it just looks so gorgeous on the table. I'm always really interested about how campaign games are being implemented. So I'm just excited to play this one. And it says it plays each round in 45 minutes, so that's not too long.
Yeah, that's very doable. So it doesn't play solo, which I'm surprised. It's a 2 to 4 player count. So
I definitely didn't put any other games in here because I didn't want to, because the whole structure of that pyramid board is sitting in there, so I knew nothing would fit.
All right, so the next one this was another review copy. This is Captain Obvious.
I had never heard about this game.
Never heard about this one. And it was one of those games that I was like, I don't know, it looks a bit like kind of party. Maybe maybe it's not
too fun for Maggie.
Yeah, too fun for me, and it's not really. It was like, it's like a word game. Like, wow. And then Alex was like, no. You have to try this. You have to try this.
Alex from Boardgame Co.
Boardgame Co. And so, so we actually got to play a few rounds with it. And it was, surprisingly quite satisfying. So you're essentially like making, you're picking pick a number, which will give you a word. And then you have to and then you roll a die that tells you how many words the sentence needs to be that has to contain that keyword. Well, is that like a really convoluted way of explaining it?
Yeah, it was really a bit convoluted.
That's fine.
Okay.
Welcome to my
brain.
Early. It is very early. I'm seeing the crack. I'm literally seeing dawn happening. So you kind of create your sentence, and then you pass your little notebook thing to the next person, and they're going to cross out one word and read out the sentence without that one word, trying to see if people can figure out from
any word. They can choose any
word. And trying to see if the rest of the group can actually figure out what your sentence said. So ideally, you want to try and make a sentence that's so obvious that even with that one, and it can't be the keyword that's taken out. Obviously, that's always going to be there. It was actually surprisingly intriguing. It had some funny moments around the table as well.
I have to say, I was pretty good at it.
You were incredible at it. It was
I
kind
think I
of
won
annoying.
both games.
You did. It was kind of annoying, but it was also really hilarious. We played with Taylor, who just would have the most outrageous and like absurd sentences that just continuously kept me cracking up. So it's like,
yeah, so it's both challenging in that you have to guess other people's words, but also the fact that you've got to come up with a sentence that has exactly that number of words in it and includes the key word.
Yes.
And then it's like got to be really obvious if you have to think about, okay, which word is the person going to delete from the sentence and would it still make sense and still be easy to guess? So, pretty clever. Pretty
tightly
game.
packed as well, so there's nothing else in there. Captain Obvious.
Here's another game called Festival. This game, actually, we played at Essenspiel when it was basically like a very basic prototype. It was like, I think it was like very hand-drawn and very basic.
Yes.
I'm amazed that they got it produced in the time, from the time we played at Essenspiel to now. The game is out. I can't remember that much about it. Look at this, it got completely dented.
That's what happens often in the luggage. Some of them just get really badly kind of punched in the middle.
But it is a very abstract puzzle about fireworks. I'm just going to see if anything is in here. Let's see. Oh, there's Sears Catalog. There is the game that we were talking about earlier, which is the Shedding game by Taylor Rayner. And Bezier Games.
That this little guy belongs to.
Oh, quick, we've got to go to work.
I know,
quick,
so
keep
late.
Moving through. Yeah, we're
So
spending
Sears
too much
Catalog.
time.
Yep. What else?
I'll talk about this one, Love Struck. This is a game that is based on reality TV specifically because there's different shades of reality TV. This one is about a reality dating show. Now,
highest possible brow of reality TV.
Very high
categories.
Brow. Hey, I won't hear a word about it because you may not know this, but my downtime consists of predominantly watching reality TV that involves finding the love of your life. And
one day it'll happen to you.
Yeah,
as well.
One day I'll keep looking.
I'm fingers crossed for you.
And so this is a game that's based on all of those different shows. And so I was just super intrigued by this. It is that this company, they make these beautiful games, these Rabble games, but they're all very party. Probably most of them don't really fit our style of like heavier games. But this one, the theme really got me. And then when they were explaining how it works, it's essentially a social deduction game where you are trying to match up with people and they have a secret agenda. Either you're there for the right reasons or the wrong reasons.
It's very thematic.
So thematic.
Yeah, as they were explaining, I was like, I have to give it to you. It's incredibly thematic.
And like you're going to the villa and then there's all these events that happen that are
creating
based on
drama so that you can get more like celebrity type kind of points.
Thematic perfection.
Yeah, I don't like social deduction, but I can see
neither of us really do.
No, the thematic thought that went into this is impressive. So interesting.
Can I just say, I only watch these shows not because they're trashy and not for the drama, but because I genuinely want people to work out and find their love. I love the social dynamic that is created, and then I'm always like, where are they now? And it's like, they didn't even leave the island together.
They didn't make it past.
I'm like, that's so sad.
The credits, they were already broken up by the time the credits started rolling.
Yeah.
So this one is Witness. So there's another
one hiding somewhere here.
So this is it's also co-op, and I believe Monique and Naveen from Before You Play were kind of telling us about
and Ilya
and
as well,
Ilya and
because
Tyler
I think
from
they
Cover.
played it together.
Yes.
And so this was one where we didn't know anything about it. And
it's a 4-only game, so you have to play this with 4 players. Sorry, I interrupted. Yeah.
No, I was just going to say that like sometimes, and this happens at a con, is you've got your list and you're going about your business, and then where it gets, more problematic is when you start talking to other people about their lists, and then suddenly your list gets longer and
like, that sounds interesting. I need to. Where was that? What booth?
Where was that? What was that? But this was one of those games where we played a game recently called Perspectives by
Matthew Dunstan.
Where everybody gets a different piece of information, visual information, and you're trying to work out what happened. This sounds a lot like that, but you're doing it in an auditory way. You are talking to each other about different pieces of clues that you're remembering, and I believe that you have to whisper
You're
it
whispering
to one other
like
person.
The game of telephone, essentially, where then people are going to have very, sometimes warped ideas or misremember things, and that's part of the fun.
Sounds like the clues are incredibly complicated, and so it's actually really hard to retain all of the information that you need to retain without writing it down. So it sounds really interesting. Apparently it's really, really hard.
Yes.
There's 3 in the series. There's another one hiding in here somewhere.
There we go.
This is another one that I purchased when I was getting lone wolf.
Okay.
Yeah, so this one just sounded like an interesting little party game coming out of Japan called Fashion Police. In this, do you know much about this game?
I know nothing about it. No.
In this game, you are essentially putting together an outfit for a particular type of event. So it's one of those games where you are trying to get the group to guess what you've created on the basis of a clue. So, for example, if you're going to a disco, you've got like a silhouette where you're putting patterns of fabric behind.
Okay.
And so you're trying to create an outfit that screams disco so that people can identify your outfit in a lineup of other outfits.
Right, I see,
yeah,
I see.
so it's all about
It's like Dixit style.
yeah, it's kind of like deduction, but through fashion.
Yeah, nice.
Yeah, so anyway, I'm really intrigued by this game. I don't know if you put anything in here.
I don't think so. I don't think it's even open. Is it open?
Is it open?
It is open.
Hello?
Yeah.
Are you
I
open?
definitely didn't.
Why don't you talk about another game?
All right, I'll move on to another game. Let's do Spectacular.
Nothing
There's
there.
nothing there. Spectacular. Now, this was on... You were the one who got me to
Because
go
of
chase it.
Rado. Because Rado keeps talking about this game and he's like, this game is amazing, it's going to be my game of the year.
Yeah.
So I, of course, watch Rado's videos and I just got super excited about this because I didn't know that much about it. It's by the designers, what were you...
So it's like, looks like kind of tile laying type. Or I know nothing about it. I don't know.
Yeah, you are trying to create a wildlife sanctuary, I
see.
believe.
Yeah,
And so it is a tile layer. That's about all I know about it. But it is by the same designers as Come Together.
Which we really, really enjoyed. Like, that was a fun game.
Enjoyed. And yeah, so, but funny thing about this game, hold on, I just want to talk about this game for 1 second, because this game was another one that I don't know if it was a Rado effect, but it ended up selling out. They only had a small number of copies every day, and it was really, really hard to get. At the times that we went to the booth, it was completely sold out.
Yeah.
So I really want to give a special shout out to Nick and Nicole from the Joey fam, who managed to stumble upon the booth when they were restocking and grabbed a copy for us. So thank you so much for your help with that and with other games that we'll get to. But I really appreciate that. You got to have people scouting for you.
Yes,
so
it's a co-op team effort.
It is.
This whole finding game. So I did have another little game inside. This is Parks, the roll and hike version,
Cute.
which is like the production of this is gorgeous. You even got it signed, which by Henry.
I
love
did.
Henry.
We
the
love Henry.
Designer. He's such a beautiful
Designer
human
of
being.
Parks.
Yes. So I'm excited for this. So I got to have like a half of a version of this at one point, but I think I kind of played it with not quite the right rules. So I'm excited to play it with the right rules because again, the production is so beautiful and just I'm looking forward to this. So this is the roll and ride version.
We even got to have lunch with Henry,
We
which
did.
was so nice. We didn't make any plans. I think people got a bit frustrated that we wouldn't lock anything in. But when we go to a con, we've learned now it's better to just be free-flowing and kind of go with whatever is presented in front of you. And one of those moments was, hey, Henry Audubon, designer of Parks, would you like to have lunch with us?
We're about to have lunch. Do you want to join us?
So that was really lovely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There we go. And another one else is Keymaster as well. So this is the same publisher. Harvest. This looks really, really beautiful. As a like the production. I love the artwork of it. And this is an older game that's had a bit of a re-implementation.
Is it?
Yeah, it's an older game that had a new artwork. And also some of the rules have been tightened up. So
well, it's a beautiful game. They did provide us this as a review, copy. Their booth, Keymaster Games, their booth was beautiful showcasing this game.
Yes.
I'm excited to try that.
Wait. Let's check inside.
Yes.
In case there's
Certainly.
things. There is. This is the third witness. We found
Third
it.
witness. We found the
other-
third witness. We also found Sandbag. This is it's a trick-taking game where it's a game. We did have the opportunity to play this one night. It was really late at night and trying to get my head around this. It is a trick-taking game where you get to place some cards in front of you at the start of a round that other people can use. And you are trying not to win tricks in this game because the points that you gather are going to work against you. You don't want that. It is by designer Ted Alspach, who is the who owns Bezier Games and is designer of many fantastic games.
Yeah.
It is one where I struggle to wrap my head around the strategy.
We need to play it more to figure out, how it kind of plays out.
Oh my goodness, it's almost been an hour, Maggie. Okay,
what?
this is a game that, of all the game, even concluding Rock Hard 1977 was probably peak hype, this was the other game that matched that. So Comic Hunters is a game that I believe has only been available in Brazil for the longest while. And so people who wanted this game were importing it and then printing, getting English translations and whatnot. Because a lot of people revere this game because they managed to get the Marvel licensing for the artwork. So in this game, you are drafting in different ways across different rounds to collect comic books because you are a collector. And all of the comic books in this are actually based on real comic books. So
it's really cool.
Yeah, so a lot of people have been trying to get their hands on this over the last little while. Now it has been brought out as the English edition has been brought out by Spin Master Games. So people are losing their minds trying to get this game.
It's one of those where the lines would go around and then roll around at the cover. It was
wild.
So sold out every day.
Day one, we were very close to the door, and this is where I sent Maggie to go first because everyone was talking about it.
Instant fail for me,
And her line got cut off before she could even make it into the number of copies. Day two, tried to line up again. The same thing happened. Then on day three, we had a divide and conquer approach with Nick and Nicole, Joey fan members, who again said, look, we're two couples. You're allowed one copy per person. So let's both line up at different doors. Whoever gets in first will pick up 2 copies, for the other couple. And so thankfully they made it. We didn't. We had some bad information about a door that was going to open.
There was a door that at 10 a.m. where everything was open. It's nothing, quarter past. We're like, no, we well and truly missed the wave.
So thanks to some great friends, we managed to get Comic Hunters, and we're excited to try it out because everyone I've spoken to has really enjoyed this game. There is nothing else in here.
No, just Comic Hunters.
Excited to. And my first stop was to go and get Tiananmen, which I believe sold out instantly. They didn't have many copies each day, but this is a drafting game where you there's a central splay of cards where you are placing your meeple out in the in the intersection of the space between the cards, and then in turn order you get to draft one of the cards that you are close to. But the problem is because of turn order, the card that you wanted could get taken by someone else, and also because of the way it's drafted, you kind of know what someone might be going for, but you don't know exactly what they're going for, but you could probably work that out. So just sounds really interesting. Again, another game that lots of people have really loved, so I wanted to go and buy this one. There's plenty of things in here.
There's more.
Bottle Imp.
Bottle Imp.
Bottle Imp is a game that I actually backed back when it was through Grail Games, and I'm interested, but then also we were just given a copy as a review copy. And we managed to play it as well with the publisher. It's an old trick-taking game where you are trying to not get left with this bottle that moves around from player to player depending on who plays the card that is closest to the Bottle Imp value in a trick where all cards are lower.
No, so it's if there's, anyways, the bottle has a value. If anyone plays a value lower than the bottle, then it's going to be whoever's lowest but closest to the number.
Have I mentioned I've been up since 3:30?
Yeah, things like this are gonna happen. So Bottle Imp, beautiful production. I love what they've done with this production. So that's an exciting one.
More Japanese trick-taking games. I was so excited. This was another stop on my list of games that may sell out. So Sumo, I don't know much about this one, but I'm excited to try it. The one I was really hoping to play is, and again, I don't know much about it aside from the designer who's made a lot of trick-taking games, but Takuri Taking is about dinosaurs drinking sake.
Sake. I love that.
That's enough. That's enough for me to want to try
Anything
that.
else in there?
Coupled with it being trick-taking. Here's another party game that we were given as a review copy. This is Mind Map. And essentially, so there was a game recently, Things in Rings, which we love. A lot of people were playing that at the con. And I love it because it is
I just move this back, otherwise it gets blurry.
Sorry, it's a Venn diagram. Love it. This one has an X and a Y axis.
Oh, yeah.
Which I also enjoy. And in some way, you are placing clues and trying to get people to, I believe, probably guess the axes, but I know nothing about this game.
Yeah, but I think you pretty much described it. That's exactly what it is. It's it's more to this than this. And you kind of
So maybe a wavelength style game. Yeah. That's what I'm picking up from this game.
This feels like there might be something else inside it.
What's inside?
Oh, there is.
Lots
of
things.
Okay.
So Circus Flocati is an old game that has been, I think, This game has been brought out by multiple publishers. 25th Century Games have brought it back. It is a classic Reina Knizia game, and it is a set collection game. Never played it, but I know that people really like, the people who like this really like this, and it looks super cute, so I wanted to pick that up. This one is a new version of Tichu. And these two games were actually not at the con. And speaking of our friends Nick and Nicole, I sent them on not only were they helping us source games at GenCon, but they did some muling of games for us as well. So
brought some along.
There are games that are hard to get anywhere, and mostly when they're imported. Baronda is a trick-taking game out of Japan that I'd been hearing a lot about, so I wanted to grab that, and they were able to find that for me and bring it to the con. This is a new Korean edition of Tichu, the classic shedding game, and I wanted to check this out because it has completely different artwork. So those are two random things that were not from GenCon. Sorry about that. This is
collapsing over here.
Another review copy that we were given, which is King of Tokyo Duel. Now, I haven't played King of Tokyo in so long.
It's been quite a few
years. It was like
years.
Gateway level game for us that we tried, and probably one of those early games where we were like, dice rolling and battling is probably not our thing, but I'm interested to see how it's been implemented in a two-player version, because we like two-player competitive games. We're moving quickly now.
We are.
Decorum, moving out, was one of my most anticipated expansions. I love Decorum.
She really did. Yes.
I love Decorum. There's probably 5 co-op games that I love. Decorum is one of them. The passive, aggressive, working together to try and achieve your objectives.
I don't think that's us.
Putting together your house in the style that you want it to be styled versus your partner. Hilarious if you play it with your actual domestic
or someone that you live
or
with,
housemate, awkward. But this one is about moving out, which we did recently, and I have to say that it did get a little passive aggressive at times.
Well, but this was about packing the car with like.
We made it through.
We made it. We're still here. You know, we managed to survive.
Now.
done.
So I'm interested to try it. It has bubble wrap in it. Like bubble wrap is one of the components of the game.
This
is Endeavour Deep Sea, another game that I knew would sell out. And so we managed to pick up a copy, and I'm very grateful because actually we were chatting to the publisher about this game, and they very kindly put aside a copy for us to purchase, which we don't do that kind of thing often, but we were talking to them about the game, and we have been talking and excited to play the game, and so they kindly put it aside. So it was one of our early stops, but
as in like putting things aside, we don't usually like.
No, we don't usually do that because that's like, we line up because it's part of it. It's all part of it. But Endeavour Deep Sea, we did purchase this game because we've been wanting to play it, but this game is full of stuff.
There's lots of stuff. Oh, look. Some more taco cat. Go cheese pizza. What's this? Wild taco. So this one has wild ones in it. And the narwhal has like
they're really branching out
David Bowie type. Yeah. So we have, what else is in here? Lure, which we've actually played. So this is based on a Taiwanese dice fishing game, which we have played, and this has been apparently further developed. So it's apparently even better now. Love the artwork. The artwork is really cool.
This is a dice chucker. You're just trying to catch fish by throwing dice, and it's fun. This one's actually really heavy. There must be other stuff in here. Chronologic is a game that I had on my buy list. I didn't have it on my most anticipated list, but it was probably scraping the edges of that list because I was just unsure of how it would play because there wasn't a lot of information about it. But essentially, it is one of those deduction logic games where you are trying to crack a case, which in terms of co-op games, like we actually really enjoy that style of game where it's like an escape room in a box or that kind of thing. So yes, excited to give this a go. I'm just going to see if there's anything else in here.
There is.
There is things in here. Prey. This is another one of those tiny little games by All Play, and it is a trick-taking game, but we don't know much about
haven't played that one yet.
But I'm excited to play it.
Yeah, I like
so many trick-taking games.
I think we have a lot of trick-taking games. All right. Oh, we really did this unevenly.
Yeah, I cleared my side. What are you doing, Maggie?
I know. I've just been putting games away. Okay.
Time. Okay.
There's a lot of putting games away.
Pac-Man. I love this series of games. I never know how to say the publishing house. Is it Gigamic?
Gigamic? Anyways, yes.
Gigamic?
I don't know. There's more stuff in there, I think. Yeah. Because I can see it peeking through.
You can see it peeking through. But yeah, I really enjoy those abstract games, probably more than Maggie.
Yes.
My favorite is still Quarto. But I do like Corridor, and Corridor Pac-Man edition I'm excited about because
it looks
you
really
can't
cool.
see it here because we've taken out all the pieces.
Yes.
But there's the little Pac-Man and all the little ghosts.
Yeah, it's really cute, but I kind of had to destroy it.
Hey,
the
we
insert.
went to an arcade in Las Vegas when we were there for Dice Tower West, and we were killing some time, and Maggie and I were playing Pac-Man cooperatively, and we ended up having people watching us because they were so impressed.
We drew a crowd because everyone was like, wow,
look at these,
doing really
look
well.
at these 40-year-old women playing Pac-Man.
killing
They
it.
are slaying.
They are.
Okay, so Corridor
did-
Pac-Man, there's some stuff in here. There's Moose Match
There's
Mayhem.
more cat goat cheese. What is it? Taco cat.
I have no
goat cheese
idea,
pizza.
but 3 for 20, Maggie.
I mean, this is different though. Moose Match Mayhem.
3 for 20.
There's different creatures, like critters on it. They're all
This
very
is
cute.
another game I purchased, Vampire Queen from 25th Century Games, because it is a shedding game.
Yes.
It's a shedding game and it's quite weird. And we played it. This is the one that we tried to play on the couches. And in this game, there's like vampires, all of the different cards, and then there's a vampire slayer. And when this vampire slayer card is played, it changes the way that the round is resolved, or how the shedding works. It's quite interesting, actually. The more I played this, the more I started to enjoy it. It plays right up to 12 players, 3 to 12.
Outrageous. I don't think there's anything else.
I feel like it's going to differ in terms of like how it plays out for different player counts.
But great for a really high player count.
Yes. I also purchased this one, which is Rubber, Paper, Scissors. This one was on the basis of Jay, really enjoying it. So Jay, who now works at Bezier, but he also has a wonderful YouTube channel called Cardboard East. He really likes this game. I wanted to pick it up. It's a combination of rock, paper, scissors and tic-tac-toe.
Ah, there you go.
Neither of those games I particularly love, but sometimes you get a mashup of games where it's like, hey, like Nana.
Yeah, look at
Which
Nana.
is like Go Fish and Memory.
And it just nailed it.
And it just works.
Yeah.
So I was intrigued to pick up
This
that
is
one.
very small. I don't know if there's anything in it, but
Don't
just
think
for the
so.
sake of it, I'll just double check.
Flip 7 is a game that just came out from the Op, and it is a push your luck game where you are essentially just flipping cards, and there are cards that have different actions that do different things. This is a promotional edition, so it's in a tiny box, but I have to say I like this box more than the box that it comes in, because the box
There's
that actually
another
comes
box, that's much bigger, and it doesn't really need to be. This is the perfect size for it.
Perfect size for it.
Yeah.
So that's going to probably be
It's
a fun
another
one
good
to-
little filler
Little
type
filler.
game. Yeah.
Yeah.
Flip 7.
This one.
Oh yeah, so this is Epic Roll and Write. So this is paper app dungeon where the pencil. So it comes with a pencil and it's just like a paper. Roll and write sort of dungeon-y thing. The pencil is a dice, so it actually has numbers on it, and you can kind of spin it, and wherever it lands, it gives you, that's your roll. So that's pretty cool.
Someone was saying that they thought that you would like that game.
Monique from Before You
Monique
Play. Yeah, she had a copy at Dice Tower West, and she's like, ooh, and I was like, ooh, and I finally have my own
Everyone's like,
ooh, copy. Yes.
Okay, we're almost there. We can
Nestlings.
do
This
it.
isn't shrink, so there's nothing in it. It's actually quite solid because I think it's got a lot of wooden pieces in it. We have had a quick demo of this, and it's kind of like resource management in terms of like feeding like a variety of feeds to your birds.
You have this interesting like circle or quadrant thing that you
if
are
you can
trying
maybe
to
even
fill
see.
out by essentially going out to different places on the board to draft these different types of insects, and then when you fulfill them you get points.
Yeah.
It is quite a lightweight game.
Yes.
And it's a beautiful production.
Beautiful production,
But it's quite big for the level of like weight that it has.
Yeah.
So I'm interested to play it more at different player counts.
Yeah.
We've only had one demo game of
Yes. Let's see.
that. What else? Come on,
Lots
Maggie,
of things.
we
Oh
can
my
do
goodness.
it.
The stress. I feel
Salty.
the pressure. Oh no, even my little plushie's fainting.
Salty is a game that don't panic, Maggie.
I'm
We're
panicking.
okay. Salty is a Japanese game that I purchased at Tanuki Games in Austin, Texas, and this is all the way from Japan. And actually, last time we went to Tokyo Game Market, this was released, but promptly sold out from pre-orders. And I really love the theme of it. It's a trick-taking game, of course, where you are essentially, I think, adding condiments to your food.
Yeah, there's like level of saltiness. So it's like, I think sodium level, and it's different sources. There's like soy, mayo, catch up and like, yeah.
I love that.
It's really quirky as well in the way that it plays out. So I started learning the rules, but I haven't fully.
I haven't had the opportunity to play it. Story of our lives.
Story of our lives.
Story of our lives.
Task team.
Okay, everyone was playing this at GenCon. Everyone was playing it, and everyone seemed to be having a crazy, loud amount of fun.
This is one of those like people running and throwing things and laughing. And
but inside the box, there's like a tape measure. There's also like
it's like what are going to be these tasks? Yes, sand timers, like pencils, and like an actual.
And so especially a lot of groups of content creators. I always saw them like doing weird things like throwing things at walls. And, so I have no idea what this is like.
No idea.
But,
it might be too fun for me. But
it might be too fun for me.
Might be one for work, maybe.
Yeah, but this is a review copy.
Yes, it's a review copy.
To try this. Yeah, a lot of these party games get given to us as review copies. But I like to take these games to my work actually because they're light, easy to get into.
This is Clash of the Magic Schools, which is a 2-player only game as well. So kind of dually, like where you've got like players on either side. Haven't played it yet. Review copy, so we'll have to check it out and then let you know our thoughts. Yeah, 2-player only. Yeah, 45 minutes. So PvP.
This one weirdly was on my buy list, Mutton Bustin', and I don't know why. It was like just the artwork drew me, and I was like, that looks unusual. 25th Century Games has been pumping out a lot of great games lately. They brought back Hamster Roll as well, which is like one of my favorite dexterity games. So I was really interested to see what they were doing across the board. And this was one that was also launching at GenCon. And I thought it was a push your luck game, but then I started learning it to teach a group of people at GenCon. And actually it had a lot more like vocal and dexterity challenges. So it wasn't what I was expecting. There's a lot of like, sing a song or do a certain thing, and maybe you're trying to do it in a certain amount of time because that before, you get kicked off the bull or whatever this mutton busting is, a sheep actually. But I decided it probably wasn't right for the group because this feels like a game that you just want to play with like a really close group of friends who, you don't mind being stupid with.
Doing silly faces and things and sounds. All right, this is Happy Home.
Happy Home.
Which is a cool little, I think it's like polyomino type puzzle game.
The designer is Matt Dunstan, fellow Australian.
Yes, so looking forward to it. I really like the look of it as well, like the artwork kind of design that they've gone for. So we'll check it out. We'll let you know what we think.
And The Veil of Eternity. So this is a game that came out at Ascent, and we actually lined up to get Dracula versus... Oh, what's the other game? I'm so tired.
Is it Van Helsing? That's a Dracula versus Van Helsing? And then there was like Jekyll and Hyde versus Scotland Yard.
Both of those games.
So we got both of those.
We went and picked these up, and then we're like, should we get The Veil of Eternity? And then we're like, nah, because it was battling. And then ever since then, everyone's like, Veil of Eternity is so good. So
fine.
I had to pick it up. I didn't buy this at GenCon. I actually purchased it at Tanuki Games as well. So I believe they did have it for sale though at GenCon, and it was pretty anticipated by a lot of people for its American release. There's a number of other games in here. Also from Tanuki Games, I picked up Bus and Stop, which is a Sashi and Sashi game, and it's super simple. It's actually simpler than any of their other card games. So if you've played like In Front of the Elevator and all of those other games, this is even more basic. But
15-minute play times was the lightest and fastest to play of all their games.
But very luck-based. Yeah. It kind of plays itself out a little bit.
It does play itself out. But it's like as a filler. Like, interesting one to check out.
Then we picked up The Phantom of the Opera, which is a 2-player trick-taking game where one person is playing as the Phantom of the Opera and the other player is playing as, I've forgotten her name. Christine.
Yes.
As the Phantom, you are trying to play out a sequence of music that has notes on it that represent whether you want to win the trick or Christine needs to win the trick. And so it's this like push and pull. I actually thought it was a really clever implementation of a 2-player trick.
I thought it was really hard.
It was really hard.
Yeah. Still haven't been able to figure out how you actually win as the Phantom.
And I think this was the last game I purchased from Tanuki Games. Who knows? But this is Reforest, which people have described on BGG as the wingspan in card form. So it is a cute little game it looks very indie, about growing a forest and building a little tableau of trees that do different actions. It didn't seem like a light game necessarily that I could pull out and play easily, so I haven't played it yet. But I'm
don't put it back
excited.
in.
Don't put it back in.
We'll never
we'll
find
lose
it.
forever. Oh my gosh,
What
two
else?
games
There's
left.
two. There's only two left. Go that one. Oh, I don't know how you pronounce this.
Chandigarh. This is a game that was another Rado effect. He loved this game, and so I saw it for sale at Tanuki Games, and I picked it up. This game is about, it has a really interesting scoring mechanic because you're building out a city with buildings that you need to collect these buildings and then put them out into this town area. And you are trying to achieve certain patterns of buildings. But the way that you, on your turn, your choice is either to move your little architect around town and build a building or draft a new scoring card. Drafting a scoring card is going to give you new buildings that you can build, but also once you have 3, if you draft the 4th scoring condition, one of them falls off and
the
scores.
edge, you kind of bump it.
You bump it. And so you have to time it correctly to score when you want to score once you've had an opportunity to make that pattern on the board or once enough of that pattern is on the board. And so it's got a really interesting timing kind of element mechanic.
It's very abstract. I enjoy my time with it, but it's a very, very abstract sort of puzzle that you're
abstract.
Yeah.
Let's see what's in here.
Is there anything?
Oh, there's one little game. I was like, those are all the games I bought at Tanuki Games, but that's not true.
They were small.
Because I also bought Vivo, and I don't know much about it except for it's super cute and it's about singing animals.
All you need to know, really.
And
it is
Japanese.
super cute. Super cute.
Last one is Bomb Busters. Bomb Busters is a game that came onto our radar quite late, but actually they Pegasus Spiel got it into stock really late, and I don't think they had time to promote it before GenCon. But it made a couple of other content creators' lists, which piqued my interest. But then I saw who it was by. So the designer is Hisashi Yashi, who is the designer of Yokohama, the designer of many revered, great,
very prolific designer.
Japanese games. And so this is actually a re-implementation of that game, a re-theming, well, not re-theming, but certainly making it into a bigger kind of experience.
Is this co-op? I can't remember if it's co-op. But it's real time. So you have them. Is it real time? I think?
You are cutting wires and you are moving through levels to try to achieve that as a group. So I'm really excited about that. This was actually one of the first games that we purchased, but I don't think it sold out.
I don't think it sold out. No, but I think they brought like a lot of copies. This is the one that I went to when I gave up on what is it, Comic Hunters.
And you were so panicked. She was messaging me like, I've failed horribly.
Yeah, because it was like all the top ones that were on my list. Yeah, I didn't make it, but I made it to this one. I was like, okay, good, I got one. Oh no! And people were like, oh, you got Comic Hunters? You got the short end of the stick. What's that idiom? I was like, because that was one of the hardest. And he was like, I got all of mine. I was like, oh no, I failed.
I nailed it.
Yeah. But maybe it's like they were like, did they give you you gave me the harder ones? There was no way of knowing.
Now he needs to walk faster. No running.
No running. There's no running allowed, which is actually very good.
Just walk at a brisk pace.
With a determined pace.
Yeah. So I apologize if anyone saw me on day one when I had steel face on, just very focused. Yeah. But thank you so much to everybody who came and said hello and had selfies with us and everything. It was just like, it's so amazing. And we love GenCon. And GenCon is one that we will try to go to every year. Our next stop is probably Dice Tower West. So if you are interested in that con, check it out because it's completely different. It's all about gaming. It's
all about just playing games.
But thank you to all of the wonderful content creators and members of the industry and everyone who watches the Joey fam. We just appreciate you so much. Yes. And I'm really tired, and so it's going to make me really emotional.
Don't cry.
We love events like this because we get to see everybody.
We say goodbye.
It's so special. But we hope you enjoyed this video. If you got through it, well done.
Well done you.
Please like the video, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and we'll be back with more board game content soon. But otherwise, bye for now.
Bye.